Perfect.
Cundall, scene 3.
Good job. I'll be able to.
Will Cundall still have the same purpose and values in 50 years? That's a really great question. I've wished many times in my career that I had a crystal ball, and I guess this is one of those moments. I would like to think that the fundamental identity of the practice will remain unchanged and that we'll still stand for all of the things that we've stood for the last 50 years, that we will still be very much focused on our people, very much focused on technical excellence, very much focused on looking after our clients. So I think the essence of what we are as a practice will be the same. I think we'll evolve because the world in 50 years will be very different to what it is today, and we've got to keep pace with that. And I think this balance between protecting and preserving everything that is amazing about Cundall, but also evolving to keep pace with the changing world in which we're operating has always been difficult, and it's one of the things that I think about a lot as managing partner. But I think there are some fundamental elements to who we are and what we stand for that will stay, or I hope so. So I joined Cundall back in 2007. I'd never heard of Cundall when I got the call from the recruiter. I'd never worked in this sector, but I got a call about the opportunity to join as HR director. It sounded interesting, so I came along and I had a conversation with one of the partners who was in the Newcastle office at the time. Really liked her, really liked the feel of the business, liked what she said about what the business stood for, the vision that generation of partners had for the development of the business. Thought it was an interesting sector in terms of the technical piece. So after a fairly lengthy interview process, I joined. It was a very different practice then to the one that we work in today. We had probably about 250, 300 people at that point. We didn't have the global reach that we have today. We were starting to expand internationally, but it was the fairly early days of all of that. And I never would have dreamt when I joined Cundall that I would ever be managing partner. It just wasn't on the radar at all. So I think my story and the way that my career with the practice has evolved is probably testament to just what is possible. You know, we are a business that is about its people. You know, our stated purpose is to create opportunities for people. And I think one of the reasons I believe in that so passionately is because I've been there, I've lived it, I've done it, and it's been amazing. There's so many occasions, aren't there, in life and in work where you have to do the difficult thing because it's the right thing to do. I suppose the best example in a work setting, it's about having those difficult conversations. We have high performance culture as one of the core pillars of our business strategy, and one of the things we say in that pillar is that we have to be brave enough to call each other out. You know, when things are not playing out the way that we would like them to, we've got to keep each other accountable. So it's about having those difficult conversations. It's about shining a light on not only the good things that are happening around the practice, but sometimes the things that are less positive, because collectively we get better. Managing a very technical practice as a non-engineer has been interesting for sure. I think I'm really blessed because I am surrounded by brilliant technical people. We have hundreds and hundreds of fantastic engineers and consultants in all of our offices around the world. And so for me, they do all of the technical stuff brilliantly. I understand a lot more about it than I did when I first joined the practice nearly 2 decades ago, but I'm certainly not a technical expert. So I think it's about playing to your own strengths and focusing on what you bring to the party. And I think what I bring to the table is a different perspective. You know, my focus is very much on people, on culture, on talent, on creating an environment where all of those brilliant technical people can do their best work. And so that's where I tend to focus my time and energy. Integrity is massive. It's one of our core values and has been for a long time, and it's something that's really important to me personally in my life at work and outside of work. In terms of what it means for us at Cundall, I think it can be captured in one of the things we say in that values statement. It's about doing what we'll say we'll do. It's about looking after each other. It's about looking after our clients. It's about engaging with our communities. It's about being the best we can be. I think it's incredibly important to have hobbies and a good work-life balance. You know, we work very hard at Cundall, and rightly so, because we're passionate about what we do. But I think having things outside of work that really light you up actually make you better at work. And for me, it is sport, it's powerlifting, as a lot of people probably know. It's really good for me physically, but it's also really good for me mentally, because it gives me a break from work. You know, when you're underneath a heavy barbell, you can't think about anything that was troubling you during the day. You need to be absolutely focused on the matter at hand. So as a sort of stress management tool, it's brilliant. I think it's also taught me a lot about resilience, about doing difficult things, and it has been huge in terms of building confidence that I can then take into my role at work. Because, you know, if you can do difficult things in the sporting arena, whatever that is, you build that self-belief that you can do difficult things in other parts of life as well. So I think it has been really, really significant for me personally. I get asked this quite a lot about the advice I'd give my younger self, so I have thought about it a lot. I think there's a few bits of advice. The first one is probably do the scary thing. You know, I've had some opportunities at Cundall to do things that took me a really long way out of my comfort zone, and I've had a lot of kind of oh my goodness moments, to put it politely, at various stages of my career where I've been invited to do something, and I've had that self-doubt that, you know, am I ready for this? Am I good enough for this? Can I do this? And so I think the advice I would give anyone is do it anyway. It's way better to regret something you did do than something you didn't do. And the learning comes from stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing difficult things. So looking back, I've very rarely regretted any of the difficult things I have done. So feel the fear and do it anyway, I suppose.